I'm just getting all of these videos out of the way because they anger me. And, if I don't, I'm gonna lose the courage to get them all out. Um, okay, so this is Misdiagnosis Part 4, I think. This one involves... this one involves some really crazy stuff going on. So I had been told about my karyotype before, but I hadn't really thought back to this point. If I had, some of what happened in my 20s would have made a little more sense, or I could have done something better. I don't know. I really don't know. But I went to, my mom had, endometriosis, and we aren't really sure what all was going on because she's my mom. She did things. She didn't tell us she did things. And I mean, she didn't tell us she had type 1 diabetes for the longest time, and I had to go and find out 2 weeks ago. A little over 2 weeks ago now that, oh no, she had type 1 diabetes. I thought it was type 2 diabetes up until this point, so that might have been something I needed to know earlier, so especially since I thought I was an even bigger freak of nature than I was when the doctor called me up and said, "Oh, you're starting to get autoimmune properties, and your blood sugar is starting to destabilize." Oh, okay. I don't know what that means because type 1 diabetes isn't in my family. Turns out type 1 diabetes is in my family. That would have been very nice to have known beforehand. Anyways. So yeah, that's my mom. She went to doctors, got partial truths, and didn't tell anybody what was going on. So I began experiencing very crippling pain again. And I can't tell you I can't tell when I went to which doctor or which hospital. But, I began having a lot of pain, which I thought, well, we're just gonna put it on the back burner. They're not gonna take me seriously anyways. I was about 24 at this point, and I was just like, well, they're not gonna take me seriously anyways, so let's just pretend like everything is normal. I did the math in my head. When I was about 24 or 25, I don't remember. Well, it's not supposed to go there. It's not supposed to go there. I don't remember where I went first. Seems like something I should remember, but I don't. I'm going to assume I went to the ER first, as that makes the most sense in the timeline, before I went to the women's and children's ER. Um, I got very sick one day, and there were a lot of things that pointed to appendicitis. But I chose to ignore them and got sicker and sicker and sicker as the day went on. Um, Finally, I stood up and went to my grandma, because I was living with her at the time. I said, "Can you just take me to the emergency room? I don't feel good. I don't know what's going on. Just please take me to the ER." So we did, and they did a CAT scan on me, and they drew blood, all that. They came back and said, "You've got a massive infection in you." I was like, "Well, duh." And they said, "It's not your appendix, but it's the area around your appendix that has the infection. We aren't sure what's going on with you. We want to keep you overnight to make sure it isn't actually your appendix." And I thought that was the weirdest thing, because I thought it was so weird, because I'm like, the area around an appendix doesn't get infected. It's either the appendix gets infected or it doesn't. There's no the area around the appendix. That wasn't my appendix. That was the first CT scan I had with barium. And what they were seeing wasn't my appendix. It was something hiding behind the appendix, which made it look like, oh, that's the area around the appendix. But nobody was really sure at the time what to make of it, and I had stupidly forgot my karyotype at this point, because they told me, "Oh, you're just gonna outgrow it. Don't worry about it." So I put it off to the side, and I didn't think anything of it. They gave me a bunch of antibiotics in the hospital, and they kept me overnight, which, okay, that's fine. And the general surgeon came by and said, "I'm not even sure, I'm not convinced that this isn't your appendix still, but you seem to be responding to the antibiotics, so we're hopefully not going to cut you open and pull out your appendix." They weren't really sure what it was, but I'm sure if I had remembered and said, "Oh yeah, I had a karyotype done when I was 16 or 17 years old, and it came back wonky as anything," I probably would have had diagnosis, or they probably would have sent me off for a MRI or something to confirm what tissue was actually infected. I didn't, because again, I'm a obnoxious individual at that time. And, but that led into going to the women's and, children's hospital later that year, or the year after. I can't honestly remember when I went there, but again, I had debilitating pain, just like the last time that ended me up in the hospital. Debilitating pain, fever, the whole 9 yards. And they did a CT scan, and they said, well, no, I didn't have a fever during this time. I was just in excruciating pain. They came back and said, well, everything looks normal. We think you might have endometriosis, though, and we can get you in to an OR later today to see if it's endometriosis. I said, no, thank you, because I didn't want them cutting into me. I don't know what it was. I did not want them cutting into me. And I think a good chunk of me wasn't ready to hear what they were going to find out. So that led me back to the doctors I had been seeing up until this point. And they said, well, just talk to your doctor about endometriosis, because you probably have endometriosis, and that's not going to readily show up on a CT scan or an ultrasound or anything like that. Which at the time I had been getting ultrasounds during this period of time, and they kept coming back the same old. They kept saying, well, the thing on the left is a bit bigger than what we would expect it to be, especially given the fact that you've been on Depo-Provera for so long, and the gonad on the right is smaller. That's what we would expect to see. So then I had to go to my OBGYN and say, oh, they think I have endometriosis. She shot that down immediately and wouldn't tell me why she shot it down, except that she said, oh, you're on Depo-Provera. You're not gonna, it's not endometriosis. And I thought, yeah, but the women's hospital said it still could be, and she just kept shooting it down. So that was my next avenue. Is I thought, well, I really need to pursue this and make sure it's not endometriosis. So I switched doctors at this point, and that leads into the next segment, because I just can't do things. And have them go smoothly. It was a huge mess. It still is a huge mess, and I'm still frustrated by what happened. So, yeah.